So I'm here with Kelly from Bang the Drum Brewery. It's in San Luis Obispo. They have great little beers. They have probably one of the best outdoor ambiances in San Luis Obispo. It's one of my favorites of all time. Say hi, Kelly.
Hello.
Welcome to the festival today. It's a pretty cool festival so far. What do you think about it?
I'm really liking it. I've only had a chance to walk around for just a minute, but it's awesome. Yeah.
Found some pretty good beers out there so far?
Yeah. I've had a couple awesome ones.
Great. Well, what beers did you guys bring today?
So I brought Das Weiss, which is our German Hefeweizen, and then I brought Mossy Toad, our double dry hopped pale ale. And then for a dark one, I brought our Chipotle smoked porter.
Was there a reason that you decided to bring those beers for any reason, or just because it was what you had on hand?
A little bit of both. So the Das Weiss and our Draka. Whoa!
We're about to blow away here. We have a tornado coming through in Atascadero. Sometimes we gotta fly off the seat of our pants, but...
I'm glad you're here. I have to go on my tippy toes to grab it. Awesome.
Any beers that we should try before we leave?
Yeah, so our pale ale, this double dry hopped pale ale, was a happy accident right now. And yeah, my assistant brewer decided to accidentally dry hop it again, which was wonderful. And it's kind of a rarity. We don't have it very often, so you should definitely try that while we have it. The other two are our flagships.
This is a great thing. You mean like it was dry hopped twice?
Yes.
So I don't think that's going to be a problem. I think people are going to appreciate it, actually.
No, it's actually fantastic. We brewed it. This is our third batch because we ended up liking it so much we kept doing it.
So do you think maybe it'll become a staple of the Bang the Drum brand?
For a while, at least. Yeah, for the season, I can see us doing it through the summer for sure.
Awesome. I'll be sure to give that a try. And thanks for saying hi to us today. And if you're in Slow, be sure to come down to Bang the Drum Brewery. The place is beautiful. I love the outside. Even the interior is pretty cool, too. They have a lot of great live music and a pretty cool DJ that comes through so often. I was there for a great dance party there tonight, and everybody was having a fantastic time.
Yeah, we've got some good dance parties for sure. We've got, 90s night, and we have... Or were you talking about DJ Gale, the guy on the boogie bike?
Dude, I don't know. I don't know what he was, but he was super dropping some cool shit,
yeah.
And it was some 80s 90s mix, and it was awesome. I was having a great time.
Cool. Yeah, I'm happy you were there.
All right. Well, we'll see you soon, and have a wonderful day. Easy. How's it going today? I'm here with Ryan from Beachwood Blendery down there in Long Beach, right?
Yep, Long Beach, California.
Cool. So you were saying that you were the head brewer, but also I've heard some arguments about the head brewer and the blender, and maybe they're more considered to be a blender more than a brewer kind of thing?
I can see that as far as down where I am. I'm the head brewer and blender, so I do the brewing and the blending along with my barrelman down there, just him and I.
Have you ever had a really bad barrel where you've just been like, no, I don't want to blend this at all, and just kind of shoved it off to the side?
Dumping barrels is an important part of making this style of beer. If a certain barrel doesn't taste good or there's massive off flavors, it's best not to try to blend it. It's best just to dump it and move on your way. It's an important part of making it.
I gotcha. So you brought a couple of beers you were pretty proud of today. What beers were those that you brought with us?
So we brought our 1-year-old base blend, lambic-inspired beer called Chaos is a Friend of Mine. It's kind of a good interpretation of everything we do at Beachwood Blendery. Just a lot of funk. It's fermented and aged in oak barrels with our house culture. And it's kind of the way that all of our beers start out. We take our 1-year-old base blend and then we go from there if we want to do different beers. So the other beer we brought is Come and Grape Your Time Is Up, the Muscat edition. We take our 1-year-old base blend of lambic-inspired beer, and then we age it on Muscat grapes for 2 months and let it go through a secondary fermentation. And we actually got the grapes from Paso, Robles up here at Castoro Cellars.
Awesome. I love Castoro Cellars. They have a great whale rock festival every year. I have a good time going to that. So you said it's kind of your own house blend of yeast and bread and all that good stuff. Is that in the barrels, or you kind of do an open fermentation, or how's that work?
It's kind of going from barrel to barrel at this point. We kind of developed this culture at the beginning, getting as many microbes as possible from all over the place, whether it's labs or bottles or just from the surrounding air. We do play around with our cool ship too, doing spontaneous fermentation. And at this point, it's just a diverse culture that we kind of keep going in-house from barrel to barrel.
Great, that's really great, man. So why did you choose to bring these 2 beers of all the ones you guys have on deck?
So I should say we're just a subsect of Beachwood as a whole. There's a brew pub and a production facility that make a lot of clean beers, great IPAs, stouts, all kinds of flavors. We're just a barrel aging facility. We do all barrel aged sour beers, so we try to keep it separate because we don't want the sour beer infecting any of the other clean side. I'm actually from the area. I graduated from Templeton High School, so when I heard about this fest, I was like, I really want to get up there. So I brought Blendery beer because I was just kind of selfish.
Is that kind of why you came here? Like, I have to get home. I have to get back and show everybody what I've done.
That, and also I love supporting the guilds. My wife is actually the executive director of the Orange County Brewers Guild, so we're all about the guilds, and just we think that's a really important part of craft beer is staying true to beer and knowing who makes your beer and being transparent and supporting the small guy, and just like the guilds are an important part of that, so we are huge supporters of that.
Great. Well, I hope you got out and got to try a couple of beers out today. Was there anything that we got to grab before we take off?
The Toro Creek Red was really good. I like that. And there's all kinds of good stuff out there. So
I've been hearing about that one. I haven't had it yet, but for some reason I've been hearing about the Toro Creek Red today. So I'll give it a try. And thanks for coming on our podcast, Craft Beer Chronicles. Check it out if you want. And of course, if you're down there in Long Beach, check out Beachwood. I'm sure if you're listening or watching, you'll definitely know to go there anyways. But it's a great little spot.
Cool. Thanks, guys. Appreciate it.
It's our pleasure. Have a good night. Good day. So here we are with Dustin from Firestone. He is the head brewer of Firestone. He's basically the shit. So go ahead and say hi real quick.
What up?
Yep, so you guys brought a couple of beers today. This can be real quick and easy. You brought the Luponic 9, right?
Luponic 9. Yep.
And the Lager.
Lager and our milk stout. Yeah.
Milk stout, the Nitro Merlin milk stout?
Nitro Merlin milk stout.
So what's up with this lager?
So lager, this is one of our original beers that we brewed with double barrel ale and lager were the first 2 beers that we started making. And at the time that beer didn't succeed as well. We let it to rest for a while. And now with the new trend in market and the passion that brewers have for crushing lager beers, we decided to bring it back and rebrand it and revamp it and let it go. And I'm highly optimistic about this beer and super pumped on it myself.
Awesome. I had it for the first time last night, and I was definitely pretty happy with it. I mean, it's a Firestone beer. There's no way it could be wrong.
How many did you have?
I had the last one. I had the last one in the pack, so...
We'll have to change that sometime.
Yeah. Maybe I'll have a couple before I leave here, you know what I mean? So why these 2 beers? I mean, obviously everybody wants like an IPA, which Luponic is not an IPA, right?
Yeah.
Or is it an IPA?
No, Luponic Distortion is an IPA. It's a revolving hop series IPA. We're exploring new hop varietals, new hop blends, and different ways to mesh hops together. So we stick with the same base recipe, try to brew a very similar beer up front, but then redirect it in the back end with dry hopping of all sorts of different varietals. And it gives the brewers a chance to explore blends and have input on what's happening. And there's really no laws or rules to this. We're just,
Yeah, so is
freestyling it.
Luponic, I mean, they kind of keep the hops a little bit secret from everybody.
Yes.
It's probably like a HPC 304, some weird non-named hop kind of thing.
You know, we don't, like I said, no rules. If we feel that a classic hop will blend well with an experimental hop, we'll go that way. We just want to try to find new, blends that aren't being created and see how they are represented.
I got you. I like that when they did the Luponic series, they kind of never really specified that it was a pale ale or an IPA. I mean, I think it always tends to lead more towards the IPA realm. but I mean, there's really no designation for what kind of beer that is. Is that something on purpose, or is that kind of just how it is, or what's up with that?
You know, just keep people on edge guessing. But you know, if you want to know the alcohol by volume, you're gonna look at it and you're gonna know that's an IPA. You know.
Okay, because when I look at it, it was kind of like right in the middle of the crossover.
Yeah.
But you know,
Yeah. We'll call it an IPA.
we'll call it an IPA. Okay, I've always considered it an IPA, anyways.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna have some of that lager before I take off.
Yeah.
Any other beers at the festival that you've kind of seen out here that you think I should try out before I take off today?
Well, you know, it's getting a little bit later in the day, and some of the premiums are getting crushed already. But one of the takeaways for me today was Topa Topa's beers. All his IPAs were, incredibly impressive. Made a cryo beer that I was really stoked on, and
That was all cryo hops?
Yep, all cryo.
I've heard, you probably know better than anybody here, really, about the cryo hops being kind of not enough vegetative material in it, or is that something that you've kind of realized or seen, or not so much? Or
No, that's the case, and they're extracting mainly lupulin glands from the hop matter, not as much vegetative matter. You know, the downsides for breweries of our size are it's an incredibly expensive product, and we have to use a ton of it to get to the effect that we want.
Right.
So it's seemingly be more popular with the smaller brew pubs that can kind of load up their beers and really turn people on to these like intense hop profiles. So it's pretty killer. Definitely something we're going to experiment with and look into and see how we can possibly work it into the program.
maybe Luponic 10's gonna have little cryo hops in it. We'll see.
You will never know.
I'm gonna ask you on the down low later when the camera's off, and we'll see if that's gonna be the case. Thanks,
good to see you,
Dustin.
Lee.
I'll see you soon, my man.
All right, brother.
Have a good one.
Cheers.
Hi, so here we are again. I got Kyle from Dionysus. I said it right, Dionysus, right?
Yep, Dio or Dionysus.
So Dio is like what the locals call it out there?
It's a lot. This Dio, everyone's going to Dio.
Dio. Let's go to Dio, get some brews. Let's say hi to Tyler Clark from Libertine. He's a real piece of work.
Yeah, I know how to work the piece.
Peacemaker. We might come say hi to you in a minute, actually, if you're available.
Oh, I have diarrhea that day.
Oh, some diarrhea? Some Dionysus? So Dionysus, that's the Greek god of wine. Wine, right?
Wine and drunken revelry and debauchery and festivals, dude.
Well, here we are at a festival having a good time.
Yep.
So you guys have a 3-barrel system.
Yeah, 3.5 barrel max. We actually just purchased a 10 barrel system with brand new fermenters, glycol system, and everything. So we'll be stepping our game up.
Are you guys going to do the unit tank route?
Yes, unit takes for sure, dude.
Awesome. That's the only way to go. You got...
Well, we learned it. We have a couple tanks right now for our sours, and when we fruit them, like unit tanks are life.
You guys are making some killer beers. I've always head for the Dionysus tent whenever I've seen it, and every time it's been really great quality stuff. I've been really stoked, and when I heard that it was 3 barrels, I was blown away, man.
Dude, everyone's blown away because our clean beers are actually fermented in plastic fermenters.
No shit.
They're not temperature controlled either. So people are like, how are you pushing out beer like that? I think we're getting kind of lucky, honestly.
Is it just in a big cold room that is kind of...
It's in a big cold room, but it's not actually hugging the walls, keeping it the temperature it should be.
Yeah.
But
So you get a lot of fluctuation, like fermentation fluctuation, and
actually, no, we don't. I think maybe we have dumped 5 to 6% of all of our beer that we've ever made, which is a pretty low percentage.
do you guys do a lot of blending, or how do you keep the quality control so high on the beers you're sending out? At least since Central Coast I've been all fantastic.
Out of all the sour beers we've done, I think I've only dumped 3 oak barrels total,
Okay.
which is pretty astounding. Our culture literally makes me look better than maybe I really am, but I just feel like no, seriously though, like I've matured this culture so well that it does all the hard work for me now. I just give it the food that it needs to continue doing what it wants to do.
Is this a culture that is in your brew house or in the barrels, or is it something you design with like a inoculation of sorts?
So over time, we have a 30-barrel oak fruiter, and I
Okay.
treat it. I call it the mother.
Yeah.
So we filled it up. We added different cultures to it, and over time, we take beer out, add fresh wort, and anytime I want to inoculate a barrel, I just pull some yeast from it. And it just changes over time. We actually have a beer series called Through the Ages, so we get to see how it changes through the ages.
Awesome. You got a hold of that yeast strain no matter what, because it's been doing you guys right. That's for sure. So you guys brought a couple beers today. What'd you guys bring?
So we started with our Juice Sickle. It was a beer that I thought I would never do. It's a kettle sour with lactose, vanilla, mango, and pineapple.
I gotcha.
That was the first keg to blow.
Is it an IPA? Or?
It was a Goza style.
Oh, it goes a style.
So
Okay.
it's slightly sour. And then we brought our Perpetual Haze, which is a New England style IPA with Mutuka, Mosaic, and Idaho 7. And we just tapped our Kiwi Berlinersfields, fresh kiwis that we source locally.
Awesome. They all sound delicious. Which one should we get before we leave here?
I would try the Perpetual Haze before you leave. It's almost blown, so might as well get it before it's gone.
Get it before everybody else
Yeah,
does?
exactly.
So why did you bring these beers for? Is there any reason you just had it on deck, or like what was the situation on that?
There's two stories. I can give you the truth or a makeup one.
Let's go with the made up one and then the truth.
Okay, so we're actually just branching out into this market.
Right.
So we want to introduce our IPAs and our sours, which we're actually well known for. And the real story is our anniversary is coming up next weekend, and we're already low on stock. So whatever
okay.
we had the most of, I brought, which happened to be the same beers that we're exposing Central Coast to. So they're actually both truths.
Yeah, so it's a little bit of truth and made up story.
Yeah.
And kind of works out. I see how it is. Cool. Well, I'm sure you've had a chance to poke around the festival a little bit while you've been here. You know, was there any breweries you were kind of looking for? Any beers you kind of wanted to seek out?
I've been excited to try more of the Moxa. Derek is killing it. And I actually had a chance to talk to him and figure out what he's been doing with his new adventure up there. So that's what I've been looking forward to. And, of course, all the friends here that we know in the industry. Yeah. I get to deal with this guy right here. Love it.
Of course he's been hanging out in the background the whole time. I'm not moving. Typical Tyler. Great, man. Yeah, I had the Mosca earlier. It was awesome. That little pastry stout guy. It's like dessert in a glass.
It really is.
What beer should we make sure we get before we take off other than that one?
Oh, that's a good question. If you haven't had the Libertine's Authentic Wild Ale,
The Libertine one.
yes, it is a prime example of what that style should be.
Do you know where the Libertine tent is at?
Yes, right next to us.
Oh, it's right here? Okay, it's pretty easy to find. There it is, okay.
But yeah, their Authentic Wild Ale is literally to style. It's perfect.
Awesome, man. Well, thanks for saying hi real fast. And, well, if you're out there in Fresno, right? Or Bakersfield? I don't know. I just know that it's not
in the valley.
I just know it's that direction,
Yeah.
you know? So,
What's it like to be the only fun thing to do in Bakersfield?
what's it like to be the only fun thing to do in Bakersfield?
It's sad but cool at the same time because we're actually changing the culture in Bakersfield. A lot of people are actually traveling up.
I see what you did there.
Yeah, no, changing the culture. Instead of people bypassing us on the 5, they're going through the 99 now and checking out Bakersfield. So it's pretty cool.
No shit. So you're actually seeing, like, travelers coming in just for you guys alone.
We're starting to open up more breweries in Bakersfield now because they're starting to see that there is a culture for beer.
Right.
So it's awesome.
That's killer, man. You're a frontiersman, basically.
I'm trying, dude. I worked for the first brewery in Bakersfield for 7 years, and they influenced me to kind of, go out there and achieve my dream. So I want to give that to someone else as well.
You want to show them? You want to give them a little shout out?
Lengthwise Brewing Company.
Awesome. Well, thanks for coming out. Thanks for being here. You know, we always appreciate you guys coming out here. It's always been impressive to me that you guys come the 2-hour drive, 3-hour drive, whatever it is, to share some of your beer with us here on the Central Coast.
And then we're driving right back.
And you're driving right back tomorrow. That's
No, today.
today.
Yeah, I gotta go hang out with my dog.
You're a crazy person.
I'm not drinking, so we're good.
Man, well, thanks for making the effort. We've always appreciated it. And I'll be glad to check it out next time I'm out there.
Thanks for having us.
Absolutely. Have a good night. we are with Bristol Cider. They're in Atascadero, California. I got Cassidy with me. It may sound familiar when I use the term head volunteer. As we all know, I was head volunteer for CCB for a while. Still am. So let's not get it twisted. Cassidy, how you doing today?
I'm doing great. We're pouring here, and there's so much beer, so much cider, so much wine. Can't be sad here.
Awesome. Yeah, I agree. Actually, I'm looking at the cider you gave us. I mean, look at the color of this thing. Finally, for once, we get to show off the color of what we're drinking. This is like a bright purple. There's beets in it?
Yeah, so it's actually co-fermented with beets and Granny Smith apples. I think it's the perfect summer drink. It's dangerous because it's so good. And it's dry, it's nice, and beautiful color. It's amazing.
It is super tasty. I'm really enjoying it. So you guys brought, 3 different ciders today?
We brought like 5. We brought our Antiquity, we brought Granada, we brought Original, we brought the Beet one, and we have Barty Joe too. So we brought a bunch of different kegs. We're just down the street, so we just brought them all.
It's easy to go grab another one when you run out. Just run across. It's maybe, a mile away or something like that?
Exactly. Sometimes Weston just sends me, he's like, oh, we need another keg, and I'll just run over, and we got another one.
Great. Yeah, if you're ever in Atascadero, check it out. It's a great little place. Was there any reason you brought these ciders, or was there some kind of special one you wanted to bring instead, or are these the ones that kind of won the bet there?
Honestly, Mangle is definitely one of our best sellers. Oh, this is also Weston. Yeah. Weston is one of our cider masters there.
Awesome. Hi, Weston. Lee from Beer Chronicles. And
wonderful. Welcome to be here.
We're just going to throw you in. We're just going to throw you in there real fast.
Well, I was taking a break, and now I'm back, so here we are.
Yeah. We've got a little bit of a line start, so I'm going to try to speed it up here for you guys. But we heard about the ciders you guys brought, a couple interesting ones. Now that we're out farting around, which one should we get while we're out there at the festival?
The Antiquity is pouring really nice right now. It's heirloom apples in American oak spirit casks, unfiltered, amazing.
Awesome. I appreciate it. Well, thanks for letting us say hi real quick. I'll let you get back to this big line that you've got started here, and we'll be talking to you soon.
Cheers, you guys. Enjoy.
Have a good one. Thanks. Bye. This is the one you all been waiting for. It's Tyler Clark from Libertine. I don't know the head.
It's called the main event, actually.
The main event, yeah. Everybody's been waiting for you all night. Let's see, head brewer, head motherfucker in charge. I mean, what do you call yourself?
Founder and head of operations.
Okay. So
the head brewer, Steven.
Okay. You're just the hot shit, kind of the face, I guess.
Well, when you're this gorgeous, it's kind of like, why put this behind the scenes? Let this be in front. You know?
Absolutely.
So I've kind of just taken away from all the hard manual labor because I'm not a piece of shit. I would never do that.
You don't want to keep mashing out.
Yeah, no. So it's all about the face. Now I use my attributes to my advantage.
Absolutely. If you don't have the palate, you gotta have the face.
Exactly. Yeah.
So that brings us around to Libertine beers. They're all a little bit sour.
Tart like a tiger. Tart like a Tyler, actually.
Tyler Tiger. All right. So you guys brought a couple of beers today. Which ones did you bring?
Rose Tint My World. It's hibiscus and rosewater. It's actually Steven, our head brewer's kind of brainchild. Super good, super fun, bright pinkish color.
That's what I got here.
And then Authentic Slow Batch 4, which is kind of my favorite of the year. We make it once a year. It's 1, 2, and 3-year-old barrels that we kind of our version of I guess you could call it goose or something, but it's not a goose because it's not.
Is that the Morro Bay water goose thing going on?
There is probably some Morro Bay water in there somewhere because there's some really old 3- and 4-year-old barrels, but yeah.
Oh, so you've kept it authentic from the get-go, basically.
Authentic slow, yeah.
Awesome. And why? Why did you bring those two?
Oh, just to piss everybody off. It's mainly yeah.
Just to be like, hey, here's a punch in the face, huh? So we've been here, kind of messing around all day. Had a bunch of good beers. What was the best beer you've had here today?
Alvarado Street's Peninsula Pilsner out of a can. That was my go-to today.
Yeah, that was pretty tasty. It seems like there's a whole bunch of new lagers and pilsners kind of coming out.
I'm a big fan of the lagers and pilsners. I think
You got a big fan here in line with a Libertine sweatshirt on. We always gotta appreciate that.
Pivo Pilsner from Firestone is probably the greatest beer ever made. So kind of just go off of that.
Yeah, I believe you. Well, it was pretty quick and easy. Painless, kind of like other things we're all aware of.
It's not normally painless with me. I do a lot of crying.
Yeah, mostly afterwards. I assume.
Yeah. And usually the person I'm with is also doing a lot of crying.
Are you gonna go cry now behind the table here?
I wish I could use a little crying, if you know what I mean.
Do you need a little cuddling too?
Yeah, it's been about 12 years of marriage, so yeah, I do a lot of crying by myself.
Yeah, I feel you. Well, I'll be happy to cuddle you and let you weep into my arms if you need it. And hopefully we'll get you on the audio version of our podcast soon, a little more in-depth kind of version.
I would love to spend some time and drink some beers with you guys.
Absolutely. I'm looking forward to it. All right, Big Cat. I will talk to you soon. Thanks for coming out today. And if you're ever in Slow, be sure to check out the location there at 1234 Broad Street, or, of course, the one in Monterey, which is always a fucking great time.
Morro Bay, not Monterey. But yeah, that would be...
Did I say Monterey?
I mean, yeah, I'll take that as well.
Morro Bay.
That's a good spot, yeah.
Okay. And Santa Barbara, right?
And Avila.
And Avila? This guy, you can't stop him. He's blowing up everywhere.
That's me. Always
All right.
sneaky, like a ninja.
Sounds like we've got a lot to talk about. We'll get him on the audio podcast soon, and we'll figure out all these little details in the very near future. Thanks for coming out.
Thanks, bro.